Deep in the jungle, green and dark, walked two friends, Alex and Ben. Alex always thinking only of himself, Ben with kindness in his heart. Vines hung low, shadows danced, jungle sounds a mysterious trance.
Look, Alex, berries so bright. Don't need your light.
Ben sighed deeply. Alex cared only for himself. What dangers awaited in this leafy wealth? Ben, with a skip, plucked a berry so red, juicy and sweet, the best he had fed.
Try it, Alex. It's delicious, a jungle share. Keep your silly treat.
He marched on, his heart full of conceit. Ben shook his head, a little bit sad. Kindness forgotten made Ben feel bad. The jungle hushed. The air grew thick. Was it just trees or a magic trick? A rumble ahead, a cave dark and deep.
Treasure.
Alex cried, eyes wide asleep. Ben felt a chill.
Maybe we should leave.
Alex ignored, blinded by greed.
Don't be scared, Ben. Adventures we'll find.
The cave whispered, secrets unknown. Ben followed Alex, his heart a cold stone. Deeper they went, the air growing cold. What lurked inside, stories untold. In the cave's heart, a sight to behold. The air was thick with mystery, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets of old. The golden idol stood at the center, radiating an otherworldly glow that illuminated the cavern. It was as if the idol itself was alive, breathing with an ancient power that captivated anyone who laid eyes on it. An idol of gold, shining bold. Its surface was intricately carved with symbols and figures that seemed to dance in the flickering light. The treasure was not just a piece of gold, it was a masterpiece, a relic from a time long forgotten. The allure of the idol was undeniable, drawing Alex and Ben closer with every passing second. Alex gasped, eyes full of desire. He had never seen anything so magnificent. The idol's glow reflected in his wide eyes, filling him with a sense of wonder and greed. He could almost feel the weight of the gold in his hands, the promise of untold riches and glory.
We'll be rich, Ben. Set the world on fire. Alex's voice was filled with excitement and ambition. He could already picture the life of luxury that awaited them. The idol was their ticket to a new world, a world where they could have everything they ever wanted.
Ben felt uneasy, the idol's cold stare. Unlike Alex, Ben couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The idol's eyes seemed to follow him, piercing through his soul. It was as if the idol was warning them, telling them to leave while they still could.
Maybe it's cursed? Ben's voice trembled with fear. He had heard stories of cursed treasures, of people who had met terrible fates after taking what wasn't theirs. The thought of the idol being cursed sent shivers down his spine. We should leave it there, Ben pleaded, his voice growing more desperate. He didn't want to risk their lives for a piece of gold, no matter how beautiful it was. The cave seemed to grow darker, the shadows closing in around them.
Alex laughed. His laughter echoed through the cave, a stark contrast to the growing tension. He couldn't understand Ben's fear. To him, the idol was a gift, a reward for their bravery and determination.
Don't be a scaredy cat, Alex taunted, his voice dripping with confidence. He was determined to take the idol no matter the cost. He believed that fortune favored the bold, and he wasn't about to let fear stand in his way. This golden beauty is where it's at. Alex's eyes gleamed with determination. He reached out, his fingers brushing against the cold, smooth surface of the idol. The moment he touched it, he felt a surge of energy, as if the idol was responding to his touch. He snatched the idol, a cackle so loud. The sound of his laughter filled the cave, mingling with the echoes of the past. The idol was finally his, and he felt invincible. But as he held it in his hands, the cave began to change. The cave trembled, a shadowy cloud. The walls shook violently, and a dark cloud began to form, swirling around them. The air grew colder, and the once glowing idol now seemed to pulse with a sinister energy. The cave was alive, and it was angry. A roar shook the cave. Dust fell from the ceiling, a giant shadow with eyes fiercely gleaming. The air was thick with tension, and the ground beneath trembled as if the very earth was afraid. The jungle had never felt so alive, yet so terrifying. The beast's presence was palpable, a force of nature that demanded respect and instilled fear.
The jungle beast, a creature of legend whispered about in hushed tones around campfires. Its very name sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to speak it. Stories of its might and ferocity were passed down through generations, each tale more terrifying than the last. It was said to guard the heart of the jungle, a protector of its secrets and treasures.
Huge, with fur dark as night, it blocked the entrance, cutting off the light. Its eyes, glowing like embers, pierced through the darkness, searching, judging. The beast's breath was hot and heavy, filling the cave with a sense of impending doom. Every movement it made was deliberate, powerful, and filled with an ancient wisdom that spoke of countless battles fought and won.
"You dare steal from me?" The voice was a deep rumble, echoing through the cave like thunder. It was a voice that commanded attention, that brooked no argument. The beast's eyes narrowed, focusing on the intruders with a mix of anger and curiosity. It was not just a question, but a challenge, a test of their courage and intentions.
The beast boomed so deep. Its roar was a symphony of power, a declaration of its dominance over the jungle. The sound reverberated through the cave, shaking the very walls and causing the ground to quake. It was a roar that spoke of ancient power, of a creature that had ruled these lands long before humans had set foot in the jungle.
"It was me!" The boy's voice was small, trembling with fear and guilt. He stepped forward, his hand raised in a gesture of confession. His eyes were wide, filled with a mix of terror and determination. He knew the consequences of his actions, but he also knew that he had to take responsibility. It was a moment of bravery, of facing the consequences head-on.
Alex trembled, the idol fell with a clang. The sound echoed through the cave, a stark reminder of the gravity of their situation. The idol, a symbol of their greed and curiosity, lay on the ground, its once glorious shine now dulled by the dust and dirt. Alex's hands shook, his heart pounding in his chest as he awaited the beast's reaction.
"It was me," he repeated, his voice stronger this time. He wanted to make sure the beast understood that he was the one responsible. It was a moment of clarity, of accepting his mistakes and the consequences that came with them. The other children watched in silence, their eyes wide with fear and admiration for Alex's bravery.
He whimpered, his greed all but sang. The weight of his actions bore down on him, and he could feel the judgment in the beast's eyes. His heart was heavy with regret, and he wished he could take back his actions, but it was too late for that now. All he could do was face the consequences and hope for mercy.
"Please, mighty beast, a mistake we did make." The plea was desperate, filled with a mix of fear and hope. The children knew they had trespassed and taken what was not theirs. They hoped that by admitting their mistake, the beast might show some mercy. The jungle was a place of rules and respect, and they had broken those rules.
Ben stood his ground, though fear made him shake. He knew that running would only make things worse. He had to show the beast that they were not cowards, that they were willing to face the consequences of their actions. His legs trembled, but he stood tall, his eyes locked on the beast's glowing gaze. It was a moment of truth, a test of their courage and integrity. The jungle beast chuckled, a sound like a storm. Its laughter echoed through the dense foliage, reverberating off the ancient trees and sending shivers down the spines of all who heard it. The sky above mirrored the beast's mood, dark clouds swirling ominously as if nature itself was responding to the creature's mirth. This was no ordinary jungle. It was a place where the lines between reality and myth blurred, where every shadow could hide a secret and every sound could be a whisper from the past.
"A mistake, you say? A familiar form." The beast's eyes glinted with a knowing look, as if it had seen countless souls pass through this very trial. It was a guardian of the jungle's secrets, a keeper of ancient wisdom. The boys, Alex and Ben, stood before it, their hearts pounding in their chests. They had ventured into the jungle seeking adventure, but now they faced a challenge that would test their very essence. Greed brings you here, but what of your friend? The beast's voice was a low rumble like distant thunder. It seemed to see right through them, to the very core of their beings. Alex and Ben exchanged nervous glances. They had come in search of a legendary treasure, driven by tales of untold riches. But now, confronted by the beast, they realized that their quest was about more than just gold and jewels. It was about their character, their friendship, and their ability to face the unknown together. Will he share the blame? Will his spirit bend? The beast's question hung in the air, heavy with implication. Alex's mind raced. He had always been the more impulsive of the two, often dragging Ben into his schemes. But now, under the beast's scrutiny, he felt the weight of his actions. Would he stand by his friend, or would he crumble under the pressure? The jungle seemed to hold its breath, waiting for his response.
Alex, eyes wide, pointed a finger at Ben. His voice trembled as he spoke. "He made me do it! Take him instead!" The words echoed in the clearing, a stark betrayal that cut through the tension like a knife. Ben's face fell, a mix of shock and hurt flashing in his eyes. The beast watched silently, its expression unreadable. This was the moment of truth, the test of their character.
He made me do it. Take him instead. Alex's accusation hung in the air, a desperate attempt to save himself. But deep down, he knew it was a lie. He had been the one to suggest the journey, the one to lead them into the heart of the jungle. And now, faced with the consequences, he was trying to shift the blame. The beast's eyes narrowed, as if it could see the truth behind his words.
Ben stood tall, though his heart filled with dread. He took a deep breath, summoning all his courage. "I did nothing wrong, but I'll face your test," he said, his voice steady despite the fear that gripped him. The beast's gaze shifted to him, and for a moment the jungle seemed to grow even quieter, as if the very air was waiting to see what would happen next.
"I did nothing wrong, but I'll face your test." Ben's words were a declaration of his integrity, a testament to his strength of character. He knew that the true test was not just about bravery, but about honesty and loyalty. The beast seemed to consider his words, its eyes reflecting the stormy sky above. This was a test of character, and Ben was determined to pass it, no matter the cost. True friends help each other, even at their behest. The jungle beast nodded slowly, as if acknowledging Ben's resolve. "True friends help each other, even at their behest," it said, its voice softer now. The test was not just about facing danger, but about standing by each other in the face of adversity. Alex felt a pang of guilt, realizing the depth of his betrayal. He stepped forward, his voice shaking. "I'm sorry, Ben. I should have stood by you." The beast watched them both, its eyes filled with ancient wisdom. The jungle seemed to come alive around them, the trees whispering secrets of old, as the boys faced their greatest challenge yet.
The jungle beast watched, its eyes burning bright. It had seen their hearts in the cave's dim light. It roared again, but this time not in rage. The cave echoed as if on a stage.
Very well, a test you have passed. The true treasure, a kind heart that lasts.
The beast stepped aside, a light filled the way. Ben grabbed Alex's hand, leading him to the day. Out of the cave into the sun's warm and welcoming embrace, Alex felt small shame on his face. He looked at Ben, a true friend indeed.
"Thank you for you, I'd concede."
The golden idol was never the prize, kindness and friendship, a much greater size.
"Let's go home. Adventures await, but greed will leave behind before it's too late."